I went to the doctor for a routine checkup, just a yearly blood test, nothing more. I felt fine. Or, at least, I thought I did. The doctor looked at the results, and his face changed. His usual calm expression was gone, replaced by something urgent. "Sit down," he said. I did, heart already racing. He cleared his throat. "I need you to listen carefully. You need to consider separating from your spouse. Immediately." I blinked. What? Why? What's going on? He shook his head, looking frustrated and worried. "It's not something I can explain fully without context, but your blood work, your liver enzymes, your blood pressure, and some other markers, they show signs of extreme stress and possible poisoning. I've never seen anything like this in someone so young and otherwise healthy." "Poisoning?" I echoed, my mind spinning. "Yes," he said, lowering his voice. "It's subtle, but it's happening. I don't know how long it's been going on, but your spouse may be the cause. You need to protect yourself." I laughed nervously at first, thinking he was joking or exaggerating, but the seriousness in his eyes told me otherwise. "Divorce?" I whispered. "Yes," he said firmly. "You need distance. You need safety, and you need someone to monitor your health daily. If you don't act now, this could get much worse, much faster." My mind raced. I tried to think logically. My spouse had never shown aggression toward me before, not physically, at least. We argued sometimes, yes, but this? Poisoning? Subtle, ongoing harm? The doctor slid a paper across to me. It was a summary of the test results, a record of anomalies that made no sense in my lifestyle. "You have been exposed to something harmful over time. You need to investigate carefully and protect yourself while you do." I left the clinic with my head spinning, driving home slowly, thinking about everything. My spouse, our life, our home, the meals, the drinks, the routines. Everything suddenly seemed suspect. I didn't tell anyone immediately. I didn't know if I would be accused of paranoia, or worse, laughed at. But I knew one thing: I couldn't ignore this. Not for my health, not for my sanity, not for my future. That night, I started keeping track. Meals, water, medications, supplements, everything. Small, precise notes, like a scientist observing an experiment. I began noticing patterns. Meals that tasted slightly off, drinks that were suspiciously sweet, pills that didn't match the prescription. The fear hit me in waves. This wasn't just stress. This was deliberate. I realized the doctor wasn't exaggerating. This wasn't just advice. It was a warning. And with that warning, I knew one thing for certain. I needed a plan. Not just for survival, but for the truth. I wouldn't let this go unnoticed. I wouldn't stay blind, because my life, and possibly my health, depended on uncovering it. I didn't confront my spouse. Not yet. The doctor's words echoed in my head. Protect yourself first. So I acted normal, ate what was served, drank what was offered, smiled, nodded, observed. But quietly, I changed one thing. I stopped consuming anything unless I prepared it myself. If my spouse handed me tea, I'd pretend to sip it and pour it out later. If dinner was already made, I'd say I wasn't hungry or that I had eaten outside. I kept excuses ready. Headache, nausea, work stress, anything that allowed me to avoid ingesting what I didn't control. Within 4 days, something strange happened. I started feeling better. The constant fatigue that I had blamed on work, gone. The dull headaches, fading. The nausea I thought was anxiety, disappearing. That terrified me more than the test results, because improvement meant one thing. The doctor was right. I bought small, sealable containers and began collecting samples. Leftover soup, tea, even tap water from the kitchen. I labeled them with dates and times. I didn't fully know what I was doing, but I knew I needed proof before saying anything that could change my life forever. Then I took those samples to a private lab my doctor recommended. I told them I suspected contamination and needed a chemical analysis. I paid extra for urgency. Waiting for those results felt longer than any wait in my life. At home, my spouse started noticing my behavior. You're not eating much lately. You look better, actually. Strange how your health improved so fast. That last comment made my skin crawl. 2 days later, the lab called. The technician's voice was careful, professional, concerned. They had found traces of a sedative compound in 2 samples, not lethal in small doses, but dangerous over time, enough to cause fatigue, confusion, liver stress, and long-term organ damage. My hands went cold. This wasn't in my head. This wasn't stress. This wasn't imagination. Someone had been slowly drugging me, and there was only one person in that house who prepared most of my food and drinks. I went back to my doctor with the report. He read it silently, jaw tight. "You need to leave," he said. "Today. Don't argue. Don't explain. Just go somewhere safe." So I did. I packed a small bag while my spouse was at work and went straight to my sister's house. I told her everything, showed her the reports, the samples, the timeline. She didn't hesitate. "You're not going back there." That night, for the first time in weeks, I slept deeply. No strange tastes, no fear of what I had consumed, no anxiety in my chest. The next step was legal. I contacted a lawyer and presented everything: the blood work, the lab results, the timeline, and my doctor's written statement. The lawyer didn't look shocked, just focused. "This is serious," she said. "This is criminal." We filed for immediate separation and a protective order, not just divorce, protection. The evidence was strong enough that the court moved quickly. When my spouse received the notice, the messages started flooding my phone. "What is this? Are you insane? You're destroying our marriage over paranoia." I didn't reply. My lawyer told me not to. Then came the message that confirmed everything. "You always were dramatic. It wasn't hurting you." I read that line over and over. It wasn't hurting you. As if my failing health, my confusion, my exhaustion, my damaged liver were minor inconveniences. As if this had been some controlled experiment. That message went straight to my lawyer. At the next hearing, that single sentence shifted the entire case. The judge read it twice, looked up, and the tone of the room changed. This was no longer a messy divorce. This was deliberate harm. My spouse tried to deny everything, saying I was misinterpreting the message. But the lab reports, my medical records, and that message together formed a story that was impossible to ignore. The court ordered a formal investigation. I didn't feel victorious. I felt hollow because the person I had trusted, lived with, eaten with every day had been slowly weakening me without my knowledge. Not in anger, not in a fight, but quietly, patiently. That realization was the hardest part to accept. But I was safe now, and the truth was no longer hidden. I filed for divorce and a protective order, finally free from the hidden danger. The lab results, my blood work, and the doctor's warning exposed the truth. What I thought was stress was deliberate harm, and now I could protect myself and my future child from someone I once trusted completely.